I hope you're all doing great. If you are watching, if you are on the call, then please say hi. It'd be great. If you do have any questions or anything you want to add throughout the call, it'd be fantastic to hear from you. I've got quite a bit I want to go through with you today, and I hope you get a ton from it. We just want to make sure that with what we touch on today, we're getting very, very clear on some aspects from a mindset level that allow us to shift, allow us to feel like we can move forward, okay? So for whoever is watching on the call, who have we got? Ash, you are on the money every time. Great to have you. I'll just turn off the volume on my phone. So if any questions do come up, I do have them on my phone. I can answer them straight away. If anyone else is on the call, just say hi and we'll get straight into things. I'll give everyone a minute or two to get in and get underway. Now, I've got a couple of things I do want to share today. And I've been talking with our team. We've got Gemini, who's hopefully watching, and Shannon as well, our nutritionist who's come on board, with some concepts that hopefully allow us to dive a little deeper. And with everything that we do, we focus so much on so many aspects. A lot of people might think too much, but the big thing here is, you don't just need a different nutrition plan, right? Because you're not sleeping well. You don't just need a training plan because there's a level of recovery that needs to be the first, right? And it's just making sure that with this awareness of really rebuilding and understanding how our body is really connected, we can start to get things on our side. Okay, so getting that, building that up, really making sure that we have a full picture and look at this holistically as to how to get our body moving forward does start with really taking these things into account. Okay, looks like we've just had another 5-6 people join the group so they can get on the call. So just adding them there and we can get straight into things. So yeah, the big reason that I want to dive into this call and keep it as a mindset call is because I want to dive into these aspects that really, really need to be a good, strong base before we look at what comes next, what the nutrition looks like, what the training looks like, right? Really making sure that this stuff is on track. Okay, so I will just make sure that these slides are all good and we will get everything underway. Cool, team. So let me know if you can see that on these slides okay, if that's coming up. Looks like we may have disconnected for a second, so let me know if you can still see. Can you see that screen or not? Okay, cool. Looks like we're all good to go. Looks like we ran out for a second. So, like I said, what I want to dive into is really getting the awareness of if you want to upgrade your body, it does start with that real estate upstairs. We want to make sure that we can make some tweaks and adjustments here today to allow you to rethink how we can get you moving forward. It doesn't start with a new pill. It doesn't start with a new diet plan. It doesn't even start with a new training plan. It needs to start with the real estate upstairs. If we can upgrade how you approach this and the key concepts that you really instill moving forward, then we can start to rebuild a goal and actually make sure that we hit that, right? A lot of people are setting goals, very few people are achieving them. And what I want to do is change that with this, what I want to go through today. So the areas I want to focus on here is getting an awareness of what does follow the process mean, right? I think this is, thrown around a lot, just, trust the process, follow through what we're doing. But what I want to shift here is getting an awareness of the plaguing nature of the shiny object syndrome, right? There's a new pill, there's a new training program, there's new, and it all needs to be tested out by me because the last thing didn't work. I need to dive deeper into why our body is not working, why things feel broken, why things aren't responding the same way, and really starting to dive deep into what is the fundamental issue that is missing from you actually being moved forward. Because it may be, somewhat in how you approach things, but very much the decisions you make while you're going through a program are going to be a much bigger part of your success or failure. So I'll dive into that. The second part here is getting an awareness of taking patient action. What does that really look like? And making sure that it's not going to be a 6-week quick fix. This is going to be a long-term thing, right? If you still want to feel great in your 60s and 70s, you need to be able to instill those habits now. So making sure that it's not just, how do I hold my breath and get in shape in the next 6 weeks? It's a case of how can I make sure that this still looks like it's going to work in my 50s? It's still going to work in my 60s. And I'm still going to feel fucking awesome in my 70s, right? Making sure that this stuff sticks needs to make a shift from a mindset first. The third one is I want to ask you a really powerful question. There's an awareness of that breaking point. Like, how bad does it really need to get, right? Before we really take action, before we get someone in our corner, how bad does it need to get? And then the last one is diving into this mental clarity, getting awareness of, you've got to know what those goals are and focus on those small steps in order to get there, right? The reason there's such a gap between goal setting and goal achievement is very much those small actions and the shifts in how you act that get you there, right? If you focus on the objective, you won't get there. If you focus on the steps that need to happen in order to achieve the objective, you'll get there. I talk with our clients a lot about this, understanding this idea between the lead and the lag indicators, right? Making sure that what are the things that you do today that will allow you to reap the rewards later, right? It's not going to be focused on just getting to the goal by hoping that that's going to happen. There has to be these certain actions that need to be put in place in order for you to feel like you can move forward. Cool. So if there are any questions coming through, let me know. If you are watching, we've got a couple people on, just say hi and make sure that we can sort of keep this interactive. Let me know if there are any questions coming through. Okay. So the big thing I want to go into here is getting awareness of why this is really important, right? Come on, Ollie, why are we getting into the good stuff? Why are we diving into nutrition strategies? Why are we diving into training or these little tweaks on how you do a squat, right? If you haven't got this stuff sorted first, it won't matter. We need to make sure that we build this mastery of our body. We really understand what it's telling us, what can we tweak and adjust to really feel like we can move forward from this level of intuition and allowing ourselves to build this level of flow because we are in tune with our body, right? We spend 20, 30 years just ignoring our body, working our way through the corporate ladder, making sure that everyone else is sorted first. Whatever that goal is, we're so focused on these external objectives that we completely disregard our body and what it's already telling us. If we are disconnected from what our body's telling us, you're always going to feel like you're guessing. You're always going to be looking for outside help and feeling like you don't know what that next step is. It has to start with this focus on how can we improve that connection with what our bodies already tell us? How can we commit to long-term mastery of improving how we look and feel in our own body? If you bring that in, this game becomes a lot more enjoyable. It becomes a lot more sustainable because you have made that commitment to yourself to actually have personal responsibility in this process. The second part here is making sure that your body, really, this realization is quite a big one, is knowing that your body is a result and an accumulation of habits. It's not just a pill. It's not just another program. Your body is a reflection of those standards. It's a reflection of those accumulated habits. And that's why you're where you're at right now. Okay. So that every time those small little things, those little hiccups that you've gone through the year, through the decade, whatever it is all adding up to where you are right now. So it's not going to be changed overnight. You need to step back and realize that this is going to be a level of behavioral change that really shifts how you think. Okay. So that doesn't need to be militant. That doesn't need to be all drastic changes. It could simply be small things as awareness of when do those hunger cues come in? Are you actually chewing your food, right? It sounds ridiculously simple, yet is so overly overlooked, right? Getting clear on this, building up those habits, building up those small non-negotiables in your day to really feel like we can move forward again. It's not going to come from a pill. It's not going to come from another supplement. That behavioral change and implementing new habits allows things to really start to put those votes in your favor again, start to get your body back on your side. So the way you approach one thing, the way you approach your body is how you approach everything. And I see this every day, right? The ones that wait for it to have got really bad, right? They've had the doctor tell them that there's something's really, really got to change or something's going to be cut off. And they're like, oh shit, now I better get on a diet. Those are the people that keep hitting the wall over and over and again. They keep getting those signals in their life and they just ignore it. Whereas the guys that are coming into our program, the guys that I'm talking to every day that are ready to commit and invest into a change are the ones you can see succeeding in every other area of their life because they're willing to invest in themselves. They're willing to be proactive in things that aren't moving as well as it could have, right? Sure, you can figure it out and research and read through all the research papers and everything yourself. Go for it. But it's going to take you 10 years and you're going to have to trial and error along the way. And then hopefully you come across a way eventually. But if you are willing to take that time right now to actually invest into being smarter around what should I be focusing on so I can make the most of my time, now that really starts to feel like you can move forward with your body, but it will reflect in every other area of your life, right? If you feel like you're struggling in that relationship area, start to look at how you're approaching that relationship and how you're still focusing on how to win rather than how to come to a mutual agreement. If you're in a business setting, how can we focus on bringing in a mentor and learning these steps so that we're not just just working harder, we know how to be more productive with our time. Whatever area that is, right? And go off all sorts of tangents here. But getting clear on how we can implement these steps, make sure we're focusing on these small tweaks we can make, and how we approach tasks comes from the thought process as to which we approach that situation. So making sure that we're looking at it with this proactive nature of, it's not bad yet, but I know that I'm not happy with where I want to be. This is what needs to change. I don't know everything right now. How can I learn this quicker? And this is going to take a lot of time. How can I accelerate that learning process, right? Really understanding that this is all a mindset game, whether it's body, finances, love, relationships, yourself, and mental well-being. It's an awareness of being able to invest in that moment, knowing that to really get an understanding of how to move forward in all of these areas, you have to have the humility to know how to ask for help, okay? And we're going to really dive into that one today, because men especially, we're in a position that you want to get in shape, you want to do all these great things, but you're not willing to ask for help. You want to just get another tidbit that you can chew on for a couple of weeks that allows you this false sense of feeling like you move forward, but you're not willing to ask help. So this is why I want to really focus on a mindset call this week, is we can give you all sorts of fun stuff to go away and really chew on and implement into your training, nutrition, sleep quality, whatever. But if you haven't got that real estate upstairs triggered and switched to think about how you can really absorb this information with someone in your corner, with that ability to drive forward, knowing that it's simplifying the process, not complicating it, that is the only way to move forward in every other area of your life, okay? How you approach one thing is how you approach everything. If anyone's got anything for me there, let me know. If you're still with me, please let me know. So the concept that I really, really like, and I think is something I'd love you to take away from this call, is getting clear on this. And now this is one of the ones, probably back in 2015, 16, was the first article I wrote, which was, are you patiently impatient or impatiently patient? And the understanding there gives you an awareness of 99% of the population, right? Everyone is patiently impatient. They delay it and delay it and delay it until it's the perfect time. And then once they've started, they're like, why haven't I seen results, right? You've done a lot of thinking about it, but you haven't actually moved forward. You haven't actually implemented anything, okay? The challenge to you on this call is to become that 1% by becoming impatiently patient. What that means is shifting that focus to be ready to make that shift today. You feel like you're not where you want to be. You know you want to move forward. So how can I take that action today? Actually invest into moving forward, actually make the steps I need to make, whatever it needs to be, to really start to move forward, and then take your time, really follow that process, be patient in taking those steps, feeling like we can start to implement. It's not a sprint, it's a marathon. Being able to look at those habits and make sure we're patient and instilling those results, so long-term it really, really serves us, okay? So don't be that patiently impatient where you're going to find a way to start. There's too much on your plate right now. You know, business is busy at the moment. I'll start on Monday. Whatever those things are, they are just excuses from you actually being able to move forward. And unfortunately, this plagues 99% of the population and always gets in the way of them actually ever achieving the goals, right? We've got 100% of people as set goals at some level. But like I said, 99% of them fail, okay? There's a big gap between goal setting and goal achievement. And this is very much a massive part of it. It's a shift in mindset, right? It's got nothing to do with strategies and tactics. It's making sure that directionally we're on the right track. We're focusing on this level of being patient once we've started, really getting straight into it, not fluffing around with when we start, and then making sure we continue to implement those steps and feel like we can move forward. Cool. So really, obviously, as you can see, we want to focus on being that 1%. We want to really focus on how we can be smarter and really make sure that we start the right way. And this is why we really start on this focus and making sure that, you know, every person that's come into our program has been on the call with me individually, right? Making sure that they will actually be a fantastic fit, that they will actually have that mindset and be willing to change rather than just looking for a new fancy way to do it. And it's looking at, we're not just about hard work. There's so many things that we can do to make this smarter, but it has to start from this awareness of being patient with long-term change and being able to commit to this as a lifestyle adjustment, right? Because if you don't want to just cut calories drastically, you don't want to be on the cardio machine every day, you need to really be able to step back and look at this holistically as how to your body works, right? So we really focus on how we've shifted, how we do this compared to majority of the industry, is really understanding how we front load this process and focus on your health first, right? But that does delay all the fancy stuff, right? And a lot of people will be like, well, where's all the shiny buttons? where do we start to bring in supersets and bands and all these fancy things, right? If we haven't mastered the skill of mastering our body, then none of that stuff is actually going to cause long-term change, right? So we're making sure how we start has to start with this level of patient action. If it doesn't make sense now, you've got to learn why. You've got to actually take your time to invest into the process so you're empowered to know how to make those right decisions. There's no point just following a program and be like, this is what my coach told me to follow, so this is chicken and broccoli for the next 6 weeks, let's go. You haven't actually understand what your body's doing, okay? What are those tweaks and adjustments you can make in order to feel like we can move forward, knowing we're really understanding the science mechanism behind what we're doing, right? Because unfortunately, there's a lot of professionals, this isn't just PTs, but there's a lot of professionals out there in all sorts of industries that just guess. They go like, well, this is what worked for the last person, let's give you this. Or, just follow this program, we'll see how it goes. And at some level, there needs to be an educated process of we need to test, and we're never going to know for certain. I 100% understand that, but you need to have a thought process behind why. If they can't tell you why, then it hasn't been thought through enough. And if you're not asking why, then you're not taking those necessary steps to do your due diligence, to know that your coach you're working with the process you're following is really ready to go. Okay, so making sure that you have that time to really dive in and understand there is some personal responsibility on you to know that the mechanism behind what you're doing has to be understood. You really have to understand why you're doing it. Because when you're out of schedule, when you're on that business trip, when you're going out to dinner, whatever it is, now I can make better decisions, and it stops me from just falling off the wagon and starting on Monday again. It's like, well, what can I do now to just make the best decision as to where I'm at right now? And that's where we become able to make sustainable long-term change, is through this process of just better decisions in the scenarios we're in, right? Nothing is going to be perfect. And unless we're following, if we're following that diet every single meal to the T, that all is well and good if you're doing nothing with your day. But everyone on this call, I guarantee, has got so much on in their life. There's so many other areas that you're excelling in already. How can we focus on installing this into your life that allows you to really live it at its best? Because you understand why those tweaks and adjustments just allow you to be that little bit better every single day, and it starts to really add up. Okay, so don't just do the automatic stuff that you've been told to do. Really understand that why. Really be in tune with those adjustments and listen to what your body is telling you. Okay, let me know if you've got any questions of that. We've got a couple of comments coming through. Hey Gary, good to have you on. Awesome. Cool. So this is something I wanted to share that's really, really powerful. And this is the awareness of your breaking point. Okay. So I'll give you this awareness at first, is getting an understanding of, I want to ask you this question, right? How bad does it have to get before you want to change, right? And this is something I shared with our team earlier today with Jim and Shannon, going through why specifically men, but obviously women as well, do they take so long to ask for help? Why do they take so long to let things break, to let things slow down and shut down before they actually look at making a change? Okay. And Jim shared this story with me, and she said it was okay to share to make sure that we can really dive into this. And this is where Jim's dad passed away earlier this year. And this was a little thing that she sent through. So earlier this year, we spent some time with him while he was still coherent. While out for dinner, I said, if you were given another life, what would you do differently? His mindset was fixated on projects and money. And even though that she said that, I said, don't you think if you focused on your health and well-being, you may have had the ability to finish your projects? Still didn't get it, but was because he didn't want to take ownership and admit his physical well-being failed. I'm surprised cancer took him and not a heart attack. I truly believe physical well-being is our main pillar that houses our mental, emotional, and spiritual well-being. So even though I just stumbled on that, that is a really, really powerful message. And it's an awareness that you're so focused on your day-to-day projects. You're so focused on the immediate, urgent things now that really aren't important in the bigger scheme of things. Whereas taking that time to be proactive and focus on the base, which is your health and your physical well-being and your mental well-being, is the things that actually allow you to excel and improve and extend your life by really taking that time to focus on what's important, but maybe not urgent at this point, okay? If you wait for that doctor's visit, you wait for that life-changing injury, whatever that is, it's so much harder to come back, right? So it's getting an awareness of that breaking point. Why are you waiting for it to get that bad that it's the only thing left to change, right? You're so focused on the day-to-day of what's in front of you that you're not focused on those aspects of your health, of those aspects of being able to function as a human and you're suffering away with the short-term things, and you're doing it at a slower rate, right? If you take that time to really look after your health, really respect your own body, you're able to show up for your kids better. You're able to complete work projects on time because you're mentally sharp and you feel like you can really show up as your best. You're more assertive, you're more confident. Whatever those areas and attributes or virtues that you want to have in your life, it is always improved through anchoring it to a level of mental and physical well-being. So why are you taking so long to change it? If you're really on this point where you feel like, oh, I'll give it another month, I'll give it a couple of weeks because I need to get these projects out of the way, I want to use this call as a way to really stop you in your tracks and start to reflect on how much more do you need, right? We've just gone through this big lockdown. Obviously, Australia's still in it. A lot of the world is still in this lockdown state. And for a lot of people, that's been exactly what they need to wake up and be like, shit, I need to get my life sorted. I need to get my body sorted so I can really live my life to my best. But if that hasn't been enough and you're just getting back into work now, it's like, cool, I've got all these projects to catch up, and you're just leaving that body behind again, this is your wake-up call. If there's something around your body, you feel like there's more around the waist than there should be, you feel like you're that typical sort of middle-aged male in the corporate area, that you feel like you're a little bit overweight, you're a little bit stressed, you're not sleeping that well, and you think that's just normal. Yes, it's normal, but it's not optimal, and it's certainly not allowing you to show up as your best. Most people are overweight. Most people are depressed. Most people are disconnected from their family and their partner. If you want to be normal, that's great. But the reason you're on this call is because you want to be better than that. You want to be able to really bring every aspect of your life up, and you know your body's holding you back. So if you're in this position where you feel like you're just waiting for that next thing to finish, bring it back to what we talked about, right? Are you being patiently impatient, or are you being impatiently patient? Start today and just start to implement big steps. It doesn't need to start with everything changing at once, because honestly, it doesn't work. But what can we start to implement today? How can we just have a quick conversation? If you want to reach out to me and go through this quickly, just be like, where you at? What should be some adjustments we should make? And that's all you need, then fucking awesome, right? But it's just getting clear on what that needs to be to feel like we can take those next steps. Making sure we're looking at just chipping away, putting some new steps in place, not looking at the big new shiny red button, but focusing on how we can instill new habits today, okay? Really focus on that. Making sure that if you are at that breaking point, you're looking at this awareness of improving and being proactive before things get really bad. Okay, so the last thing I want to go through here is just getting awareness of, I guess this is more of a summary. I hope that last bit was helpful and really hit you at a deep level, and hopefully making sure that if you are already moving, then great. If you are yet to move, then I hope that gave you a bit of a driver to get things underway. But as a little summary here, I just wanted to go over making sure that the main 4 points really for today was making sure that you bring a commitment of mastery to your own body. You make sure that you're taking this time to really instill these new habits so long-term it actually serves you. Okay, no new diet does that. We're really making sure that focusing on implementing the habits and really having someone in your corner is the biggest parts of change. Making sure we have that support and we have those simple, small steps every day so we're not overwhelmed on the bigger picture. We don't delay it till Monday. We don't get stressed out on what those next steps are, okay? The next part is don't just do, think, right? This is why I was so hesitant in a lot of my personal training sessions for years and years. Is like, I am not training you every session. If you're just going to a personal trainer currently, or you're thinking about going to one, and you feel like what you need is for someone to be at the gym there so that you'll go, don't do that, because you're taking away that responsibility. You're going back into that automatic mode of it's someone else's responsibility. I'm going to be automatic. I'm putting it out in someone else's corner, right? I guarantee that if you have that focus coming into training, you are so much more likely to fail once that PT leaves or once you stop paying him, because you'll be in that position that you're like, shit, well, now what do I do? Because I didn't actually learn anything because I wasn't taking that time to be present. If you're really committing to learn this process, really get deeper into the weeds of why and what do I need to learn about my body, about how to train effectively, around how to recover, how to improve my sleep so I want to train, really making sure this stuff is in place will serve you so much longer, because regardless of what gym you're in, which part of the day, you can train on your terms, you're confident with how you move, and you can start to really feel like you're moving forward. You're not relying on someone to hold your hand every session. If you are that person, stop it. Okay, I'm not saying don't work with a trainer. If you do already have a coach, then that's great. But if you're don't focus on that PT being your way of building responsibility about going to the gym. Make sure you have that time to really look at instilling those habits of mastery, of control, of basic discipline to be able to show up and feel like you can move forward, okay? And really making sure, obviously, training is a very small portion of it. You have to look at the bigger picture to know if we're optimizing these aspects, there's a lot of stuff that people don't typically look at, right? So if it's automatic, then there's next to no benefit. All I'm trying to challenge you to do here is making sure you're looking at this level of focus around how we can dive deeper and really get this mechanism of focus around what is your gut doing? How are your hormones being impacted by your stress? How often do we need to train, and how can we listen to our body and bring in this intuition to feel like we can actually move forward? And making sure that with this process moving forward, making this commitment to change comes with the humility of knowing what you're currently doing is not working. Okay, and that's a level of self-growth that needs to happen in order if you feel like you can move forward. And if you're in that position and you're ready to change, please reach out. So the last thing I want to leave you with today, before we dive into sort of any questions, if you have them, is just getting an awareness of it's okay to fail, just not at the same thing twice. So if you're currently doing the same thing right now and you feel like you're not moving forward, you're not progressing, or you're not happy with where you are, then something needs to change, right? Because hoping for a different result while you're doing the same thing is not going to help. Is a level of insanity that is not going to, you're hoping for a different result, right? So getting an awareness of really shifting that needs to come from a mindset first of being able to accept the fact that you don't know everything, that you have a level of commitment to want to get better, and you're willing to invest, you're willing to invest your energy and time and potentially money into feeling like you can move forward. Okay, if you're in that position, you feel stuck with where you currently are and you're ready to make a change, whatever that looks like, please reach out and we can go through a couple options on what that might be. Whether that's working with us, we can go through that. If it's not working with us, and there's a couple of resources, I'll also give you that. Just making sure that if this has really triggered some reasons for you to want to change, really looking at some deeper underlying aspects of why this change is so important, then I'd love to talk to you. I'd love to go into those next steps with you and make sure that you're able to move forward, really show up for you, really show up for your partner, show up for the people around you that you actually care about. It does start with that level of commitment of your own health, your own mental and physical well-being, to feel like you can continue to show up and really be at your best because you're actually respecting yourself. Okay, cool, team. So that was all I had today. That was what I want to touch on, and hopefully that was sobering and helpful for some of you. All of you. And if you do have any questions, please let me know. If there's anything you took away from that, anything that you found really valuable, please comment below. I'll stay around for a minute or two to answer anything that comes up. But otherwise, I will leave you for the rest of the night to go back over those. And if you are ready to reach out, you're ready to make that shift in your life, then like I said, please just send me a message and we can look at what those next steps look like. Whether that be getting on a call or simply send you a couple of resources, let me know. All right, well, I know there's a bit of a lag on this live stream, but what I will do is I'll hang around for a couple of minutes. We've got another call coming up for private clients. So if you are in obviously our private group and still following this, we will be doing that call at 6 p.m. In our private Facebook group. So I will see you all then. And like I said, if there are any questions or any comments from that, if there's anything you took away from that, please post that up. And we will talk again very soon. Have an incredible rest of the week. Enjoy your weekend when we get past Friday. And we will do this again next week if you want me.